Dynavite. I took the advice from Dynavite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynavite for life. You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
The president of the Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee ruling out a cancellation or another postponement of the Games despite a COVID surge in Japan. The BBC's Rupert Wingfield-Hayes in Tokyo.
I think it's very clear from what Seiko Hashimoto said in that interview that both the Olympic Committee and the Japanese government are now fully committed to going ahead despite the COVID pandemic. However, I would say her assertion that the Japanese public will come to understand and support the Olympics once they understand the measures that are being taken is less sure. Public opinion here remains very skeptical, and the reason for that is that Japan has in the last few weeks been through a very, very tough fourth wave of the COVID pandemic.
COVID-19 cases are still surging. Japanese hospitals remain under stress. The country marks 50 days before the scheduled start of the Tokyo Olympic Games. News and analysis at townhall.com. Churchill Downs suspending veteran trainer Bob Baffert for 2 years after a second test confirms the presence of a banned steroid in Kentucky Derby winner Medina Spirit's system.
Baffert is barred from entering any horses in the Kentucky Derby or other races at Churchill Downs through the spring of 2023. Additionally, Churchill Downs says it reserves the right to extend Baffert's suspension if he runs afoul of rules in other states. Baffert has had 5 violations in the past 13 months. The Kentucky Horse Racing Commission's investigation is ongoing, and Medina Spirit's Kentucky Derby win could still be stripped. If that happens, runner-up Mandaloun would be elevated as the winner of the May 1st Kentucky Derby. I'm Mike Gracia.
Republican George P. Bush says he's running next year for Texas Attorney General. 45-year-old son of former Florida Governor Jeb Bush making the announcement the other day in Austin. Again on Wall Street this hour, Dow futures down 150 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The 9 a.m. report on the streaming news and sports network is being brought to you by Charlene's Diner, 37 Main Street, Jewett City. Family owned for almost 40 years. Order what you want, eat what you get. That's Charlene's Diner.
I love working here because of the people, and I get to work with my family every day.
Come to Charlene's Diner for the best breakfast you've ever had.
That was Brittany and Matt from Charlene's Diner on Main Street in Jewett City. There are only a few things that have been able to stand the test of time in Jewett City, and one of them just happens to be Charlene's Diner, who just celebrated their 40th anniversary in business. How do you stay in business that long in a small town like Jewett City? It's a simple recipe, really great food and friendly service, and of course, family. You'll feel like family too, because you'll always be greeted with a smile that makes you feel like you're right at home. Stop by for breakfast or lunch 7 days a week. If you don't have any time, well, that's no problem. Order ahead and your food will be waiting for you when you walk into Charlene's door. You can find Charlene's Diner on Facebook too. Stop in and join the family for breakfast or lunch today.
I'm Charlene. Come to Charlene's Diner and order what you want and eat what you get.
Here's a look at your local news headlines on SNSN. If you're looking for something to do this coming Saturday, especially high school students, they are going to be holding the Athletic Field Revitalization Project, and they do need volunteers. Now, if you'd like to participate in a very unique fundraiser to assist Griswold schools and the community improve the Griswold campus athletic fields, consider registering for this opportunity. Mohegan Sun is searching for volunteers that are at least 16 years of age to assist with events at Mohegan Sun. Transportation will be provided from Griswold High School, and in exchange for your time, the Mohegan Sun will make a donation for the hours everyone contributes. It's going to be June 5th. It's going to be at the Mohegan Sun Arena. A mask is required. Black pants only, no leggings or black jeans. A t-shirt or long-sleeved shirt to wear under the polo shirt provided by Mohegan Sun. So that'll be this Saturday, June 5th, 2021. And you can go ahead and register on the Family ID page at Griswold High School, or check with the athletic director, Steve Cravino, by giving him a call at 860-376-7635. 866. Don't forget, Griswold will have their annual budget town meeting this coming Tuesday, June 8th at 7:30 p.m. at the Griswold Middle School cafeteria. You can check out all of the details on the legal notice page on Griswold's town website, which is griswold-ct.org. You can ask questions or speak your concerns at the town meeting, which is Tuesday, June 8th. That'll be 7:30 at the Griswold Middle School cafeteria. Did you know that June is dog license month? That means every dog over 6 months of age must be licensed with the town clerk here in the town of Griswold. To obtain a license, a valid rabies certificate, which includes the vaccination expiration date, must be presented. Now, male and female dogs are $19. Neutered or spayed dogs are just $8, and veterinarian's proof must be presented. The license year runs from July 1st through June 30th, and a penalty of $1 per month is charged for dogs that are licensed after June 30th. Well, baseball and softball is pretty much over for both Griswold and Plainfield, as all teams from Griswold and Plainfield have been eliminated from CIAC state tournament play. A couple days ago, we saw the Griswold Wolverines baseball team lose 12-0 to East Granby, who was eliminated last night by Holy Cross. And yesterday, the Wolverine girls softball team traveled out to Wolcott High School, and they lost by the score of 4-1. Plainfield High School, the boys, they lost in the first round to Litchfield by the score of 6-5. And the Plainfield girls, their softball team, unfortunately, did not make the tournament this year. The only somewhat local teams that are even still alive in CIAC state tournament baseball play, Waterford and Bacon Academy.
The 9 a.m. report on SNSN has been brought to you by Charlene's Diner, 37 Main Street, Jewett City. Family owned for almost 40 years. Order what you want, eat what you get. That's Charlene's Diner.
With the SRN News Business Brief, I'm Bill Alexander. A next-generation small nuclear plant will be built at a soon-to-be-retired coal-fired power plant in Wyoming. Bellevue, Terra Power is led by Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, who's working with the electric utility Rocky Mountain Power. The effort to untangle Bernard Madoff's web of deceit lives on after his death. More than 12 years after Madoff confessed to running one of the biggest financial frauds in Wall Street history, lawyers have already secured $14.5 billion of the estimated $1.5 billion investors put into Madoff's sham investment business. On Wall Street, the Dow up 25 points to 34,600. The Nasdaq up 19 to 13,756, and the S&P 500 higher 6 points to 4,208. With the SRN News Business Brief, I'm Bill Alexander in Washington.
This is your local weather forecast on SNSN. Showers are likely today, this morning, and this afternoon, and maybe even a thunderstorm. And a chance of showers later on this afternoon into the early part of the evening. Temperatures around 68 degrees. Chance of precipitation today right around 90%. Showers and maybe even a thunderstorm will continue into your overnight tonight. Some of the storms could produce some gusty winds and some heavy rain. Temperatures right around 63 degrees this evening. And for Friday, a small chance of rain during the day, maybe even a thunderstorm popping up here and there. Cloudy skies on Friday, temperatures around 74.
The station brought to you with REO Speedwagon, Pat Benatar, Metallica, streaming live, SNSN.
And good morning, everybody. It is Time Travel Thursday here at SNSN. We have a guest with us this morning. Jimmy, are you there?
I am indeed, yes.
There you are. Okay. I think we can hear you now.
Good. Okay.
How are you? How are things wherever it is you are?
Very, very good. It's very humid here, sunny, but it's very nice.
It's very nice. Good. It's crappy here. It's raining. It's rained like 6 out of 7 days here in Connecticut.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's awful. So we want to welcome Jimmy to the show. Jimmy, this is his first time with us on SNSN in the morning. You actually did one of the evening shows with us last week, which was fun and very enlightening.
Yes, it was. It was enlightening for both all parties. Yes, I agree.
It was way cool, man. That's really what it was. So, this is before just kind of recap and what we've done here on Time Travel Thursday. Previously, we had a guest in the past by the name of Joe, who claimed that he had traveled back from the year 2030, and he was dropped in the year 2012, and boom, here it is, 2021, and he's still here, and he's been talking about different things that are going to be happening, in the future. Now, Jimmy, from talking to Joe and talking to you, it seems like the time travel element is much different, but there are some similarities as far as the whole time travel aspect is concerned. Like Joe had mentioned that he was in some sort of a pod or whatever, and it was gifted technology from people not of this world. Can you explain your ability of time travel and how it was like for you, and how did it happen?
Well, it was obviously it was different than Joe, but I have a question, Mike, before I tell you a little about my traveling back.
Sure.
With Joe, did he have any illness when he went back to 2012? When he came out of all of that, did he feel differently? Did he have any type of sickness after that?
I don't know if he had any sickness. So a couple of times he had mentioned that it was very rough on his body, but he didn't exactly say, if he had any sickness. I know he just in the last year, I believe he had corona twice.
Oh.
And I don't know about lately. Haven't talked to him, but apparently, he's had some illness that he's recovered from.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really all that I know.
Okay. My experience had to do with going back in time, and the person that I work with on this is 92 years old, and I honestly feel that she's not of this earth because of who she is, the experiences she has had throughout her whole life, and her ability to go beyond the five senses that we have. Having said that, what she did was she had me just sit in a chair, and wasn't in a pod or anything like this. But again, as I mentioned, I feel with my sixth sense and going beyond my five senses that she's very unique, and she's not of this world initially. She's 92, but what she's able to do at 92, a person 40 years old cannot do physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So I'll leave it there with her. She's well known in the community in all of New England, and so what she did was having me sit down, and she had me basically go back. And how I went back was she had me go downstairs and keep going downstairs until I saw a door. And when I saw the door, I opened it, and it was another set of stairs. And after thinking about it last night, it's almost like I was going back in time by going down all of these stairs. I could hear her voice, but it started to fade. And what was happening at that point in time is I was going through different lives, and I could actually see the beginning of my life and the end of my life more vividly. And I was able to describe the end of my life and how I actually passed on. And we kept going on and on and on from there to different eras, centuries, and so on and so forth. And what's interesting with all of this, Mike, is I feel who I am today, my personality, in general, brought me to the point that I'm at right now.
How do you feel that it shaped you from then until now?
It shaped me physically, professionally, emotionally, and spiritually as well too. Mm-hmm.
Now you were talking about this woman being 92 years old and what her like her physical acumen is, and what she can do that maybe a 40-year-old can't do today.
Right, her abilities. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you in your own right. When I met you, I thought you were, I don't know, maybe very early 50s. I thought I was older than you. And you are how old?
I'm 68 years old, and people are just amazed. They have to look at my driver's license because of my physical appearance, emotionally, mentally, and also spiritually.
Now, you've had a very interesting career. What you did for a living. I'm assuming you're retired now.
You never retire from the agency. That's all I can say.
All right, good point. Good point. I'm waiting for our power to go here.
yeah. I'm waiting for a knock at the door, Mike, one of these days too.
But it's true. I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe. When you told me how old that you were, it was a shell shock because I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
And you told me about what you could do physically, and I thought that was amazing. And you had your lady friend with you that day, and she was just validating everything that you were saying. Plus, everybody from the paranormal organization that we were with, the Connecticut Paranormal Research Team, you were just they were like, yep, yeah, that's Jimmy.
That's I'm just blessed. I just feel I've had certain people come into my life at a certain point in time to lead me to where I am right now. And I honestly feel the reason I am like I am right now is because I'm able to help other people move on with their lives when they're having difficulties.
Mm-hmm. How do you?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, how do you you talk about this woman being 92 years old and what she does, and you being almost 69 years old? What do you attribute this to? I mean, do you attribute this to just your spirituality, or are there external forces at play?
I believe there's external forces at play. People have come into my life, as I mentioned earlier, that have come in at a precise point in time where I was moving forward with my life and learning more about, and not so much questioning, but just a time and place where I was, and coming in contact with them and listening, learning, and then moving forward to become stronger as a person.
Mm-hmm. Now, I only use Joe now as a reference point of other things that we had spoken about, that him and I had spoken about, and what you and I have spoken about, whether it was during a broadcast or just on the phone chatting. One of the things that was mentioned by him was that when he did the time travel, it was the understanding that it was a one-way trip. There's no way back. Like, he left the year 2030, and there was no going back. He was going to live his years out where he was. With you, it's a lot different. And one of the things you told me before is that there are different methods. Especially things that you had learned throughout your career with the agency. We'll just leave it at that. One of the lives that you went to that you talked about last night, when we were on the phone, which I thought was extremely interesting, was going back into the Egyptian time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that was a really fast forward life that I went through as opposed to the others, and I'll kind of bring you in on some of the others I went through. With the Egyptian time, it was I was one of the pharaohs there. I eventually became one of the pharaohs there. People became very jealous of me because of that, and I was over time. It became people became more vicious and angry, and because of the level I was at, and I was speared to death. I had a spear put through me, and then as I go on, a spear, yes, yeah, it was like a knife. It was a homemade type of thing, and I was just laying down, and someone entered the room and put it right through my heart.
So you got shanked.
I get shanked. That's right. Yeah. And then the next one I mentioned to you, Mike, was the medieval time when I was defending a castle, and this was over in England because I could see how I got to the castle, and it was very vivid that experience because I could see how the castle was made, the type of stone it was, the type of day it was, as the um, um, a force approached the castle. I don't know what type of force it was, but I could actually hear on the cobblestone the horses' hoofs, and I could hear the sound the horses were making as they and the shouts that were coming from the opposing forces as they approached the castle. And being under, the person that had me go under with all of this kept saying, and I could hear it very lightly, is it's amazing how you can describe all of this, because when I have done this with other people, they can basically describe a little about their time at the end, and that was it. But you are very vivid with everything. I mean, I could see the armor that they had as they approached the spears that were coming at us, and how they attacked the castle, and how I was killed. And then all of a sudden, I saw my body for the first time go above the castle and out into the big fields and away. So that was that experience. And then after that, I was an Apache Indian, and I had many wives. That was an interesting one because I had many wives, and
were you living in Utah?
No, I was living in the Southwest. I want to say it was around Arizona, right around that area.
So it's somewhat legal there.
Yeah, that's it. That was it. Yeah, and I had the ability to. That was available constantly. And we had I hopped on a horse. I could hear the horse. I could hear the cries we were making as we approached the other Indian tribe, and how I was pushed off my horse, and a hatchet went through me, and that's how I passed away from there.
You seem to pick the blade death.
Now, now here's another one. Then I'm around Pilgrim time. It's right around Pilgrim time, and I'm right near the ocean, and I have an affinity to weather. I almost became a weatherman at one point. And I studied weather in college as a minor. And I'm overlooking the ocean, and a storm approaches, and I'm just out there looking at the land that I had owned as a landowner, and I was struck dead by lightning. And yes, I mean, this is something she said when I finally came out that people never described so vivid, all of this. And there's more to it. I could actually feel the wind from the storm. I turned around, I could see the cornfield, and I could see everything moving around in the cornfield, and so on and so forth. Then I turned around and I was struck dead by lightning. I mean, there's many others too, but oh, Willie's on. Hey, Willie.
Yeah, Willie, let's see. Daniel's here. Let's see. David Polino just said very interesting.
Yeah.
Many people saying good morning.
Okay. And so, and then another one was I was out in Colorado, and this was around the frontier time. Again, I was a cattle rancher, and there was this vicious winter storm that approached, and I described how the storm was approaching, the level of sleet to snow, and how it piled up, and at the end, because I was isolated, I froze to death. And you can laugh, but then you keep on going. One that was very interesting, and all of these, I'm a middle-aged adult, not very, but the next one. Well, I'll give you two more. Well, there's a few more, but I don't want to bore people. The another one had to do. Oh, I was an abolitionist in South Carolina, and I was a banker. And as you know, before the Civil War, bankers were very prominent in the town or city. And again, people became very jealous because of the what I had attained as far as monetary and stature and so on and so forth. But they were against they wanted slavery, and I was against that. And I was poisoned. And I could see myself drinking some sherry, and all of a sudden starting to gag and fall down and die from there. Another one, this was the first one when I was a very young boy, and it was probably late 1800s. And I was an apprentice at a newspaper place. Maybe it was the early 1900s. And all of a sudden, I received my certificate saying that I had completed my apprenticeship, and now I could start to become more involved with the news station or a newspaper. I was so excited, I ran, and my girlfriend was across the tracks. I ran, and as I crossed the tracks, a train came, and I was killed. And again, in that case, I was able to see myself fly above the accident and hear the people yelling and screaming and crying as I left that. Another one was the 1930s. I'm on a car with a machine gun, and I'm a G-man, and I was shot on the side of a one of those cars with runners, and I died. So, having said all of that, and you knowing a little about me, Mike, it really does fit what my personality is as a person. You know, I can, as people have said to me, don't when they see me, don't take my weakness for a meekness, my meekness for a weakness.
Yep.
And one time, when I was, we were doing some training, I can't say where. Somebody wanted me to get a tattoo, and they said,
"Are we talking current? Are we talking current day
current,
now?"
Yeah, current,
Okay.
and they found the perfect tattoo for me, but I didn't get it. It was a tiger behind wild, beautiful flowers, and that really kind of presents the personality and what I am today, as far as what I did for a career, the empathy I have for people, the weather, and so on and so forth. So it's very interesting to be able to go back and then kind of analyze all of that and realize that, oh my God, I'm exactly who I am today based on everything in the past.
That's fascinating stuff.
And it wasn't a pod. It had to do with going through the mind, from the subconscious to the conscious, and that was me going down the stairs deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper from my subconscious and bringing that into my conscious at that moment in time, and constantly doing that again, going down the stairs, taking something from the subconscious and again bringing it to the conscious.
There was a movie, I don't know, I'm going to say back in the 80s, who had Christopher Reeve as well as a very beautiful actress by the name of Jane Seymour, and it was called Somewhere in Time. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, but the what you describe and what you did in all of these lives or consciousnesses or however you would describe it is very much like this movie. It shows a man going into he's a playwright, and he has a reception afterwards, and an older woman comes up to him and says, "Come back to me," and places like a watch in his hand. So now he's like trying to investigate this woman and trying to figure out who the heck she is. And he goes back to the place, to the hotel or that area, and he puts himself in some sort of a deep trance. And next thing you know, he's back in like 1915. It sounds a lot like what happened with you.
Yeah. Again, I just gave you a brief snapshot of some of the past lives and experiences, but it was more vivid, and there was more volume to the activity at that time as well.
So this was a question that kind of popped into my head last night after you and I ended our telephone conversation. Going back to this lady that assisted you in regression and going back into time. Do you have, or do you feel, or does she feel, or maybe I don't even know if maybe she even would reveal this, but a history between the two of you in different time periods?
Oh, I see.
And maybe she was helping you remember.
Yeah. In some of those past lives, people in the present I have come in contact with, and I have seen them, and I've said to myself, I have seen them somewhere at some point in time. Actually, the more I think about it is when I was on the show with you, that woman from Indiana, I don't want to say, I think that's part of it. I think she was one of them when I think about it now.
That's very interesting. Do you remember the type of relationship? I mean, was it a romantic relationship? But she's a pretty lady.
She's very nice. We were very close friends, but and I think the more I think about it, or not think about it, but just let it be, I'll understand where and how and when it was.
That makes sense. I think just being comfortable and calm, I think things come to people a lot easier when you're not thinking about it and less stress and just kind of
when you're open, just like in the paranormal that we talked about before. It's a little off the subject. Is when you're just open, it will happen. It's when people are closed-minded. That's when the energy, outside energy, realizes that. I feel. Do I have any scientific proof for this? No, but it's just a feel, as we talked about last night, inside, that if you're open, that it will happen. It will happen. Things will open up. You'll go beyond your five senses.
How many senses do we have?
I'm going to say at least 8 or 9. I didn't look it up, but I wish I had this morning, and I could have defined and told you exactly what they are. But it goes beyond the five senses that we normally have.
So we know what the typical five senses are. What are the other ones, like say 6 and 7?
Yeah, I looked that up before. One has to do with just a feel. It's a feel that you know it's there.
Like a gut instinct.
You can't see, feel, touch, taste, or and hear it, but you know it's there. You understand it's there, and it's coming from the inside. It's almost like the energy or spirit or whatever you want to call it goes inside you and awakens you to all of this, to the feeling of, okay, this is what this is now. Then I do understand it.
See, now I'm of the cloth of thinking that anybody can do this part, what we're talking about, as far as the travel and going back, and viewing, past lives and uh, past incidents and circumstances. You obviously have had a lot of circumstance where you were killed a lot by the blade, different ones struck by lightning. Did you have any lives at all where you just kind of fell asleep and said, "Yep, and that was it," and died in your sleep, or is it?
No, it was always
is everything violent?
it was always a traumatic type of experience based on where I was and the position that I held.
Have you come up to anybody or met somebody where in this life, this incarnation, where you have had such an overwhelming type of feeling that just devastated you that you knew who they were from a different time?
I have come across people where I have looked into their eyes, and again, going beyond the five senses and the feel, I could see the evilness in them. There are other people I could really see the goodness in them, and then I can see when somebody is putting on a front and it's not really their true personality. They're projecting something which is false to who they really are.
Am I one of those evil entities?
No, you're very trusting. You're very genuine. You're very unassuming. Very curious.
I am very curious.
Yeah. You're very forthright, honest. That's in meeting you in person and then talking to you on the phone. I feel very comfortable with you and I can approach you. Where again, as we talked about, I'm usually somebody that is very guarded, and I will listen and feel and watch somebody or some situation, and then I will make an advancement or I'll retreat from that.
I remember, and we've talked about this a couple times back at the paranormal investigation that we did with the Connecticut Paranormal Research Team, and Melissa and I were guests at the event, and we got to meet so many.
Oh,
nice
Mike, before you go forward, remember also the spirit chasers are there.
Yeah, and
so
that's
we're combined. I'm one of the spirit chasers, even though I'm remote now. And so it was the spirit chasers and the Connecticut Paranormal Research Team.
That's right. Now they're from New Hampshire, correct?
Right. They're in the seacoast.
And that's Willie Hassel and Stacia.
Stacia, Mike, and Lynn.
Got it. Okay. So it was a combined. It was a combined investigation.
Right. Yeah. We formed an alliance, and like I said, this is a little off the subject. They're just wonderful people, and we all kind of we know what our roles are, and we just go about and do it in a professional and safe manner.
Now, getting back to that day or that night or the first night, and I've mentioned it a couple of times because to you on the like when we just spoke privately, that and this thing really, I don't know, it just kind of gets me. And it doesn't scare me or anything, but it really just makes me think. And it gives me a feeling of, I don't know, Jimmy, you're going to have to help me understand this, but like a feeling of comfort and just peace. There was a time where, that night where I was outside or whatever. You came out, we started talking or whatever. And I had questioned you. I had asked you, are you, something? And you said, I don't know, or, maybe. And the next thing, I got a very solid message that I could hear inaudibly. And it was, it's okay, you're safe. And I told you about that. And I said, did you just send me a message? And you said, possibly. I mean, you didn't say yes. You didn't say no. You said possibly. And you said that you ended up getting like a tingling sensation when I told you that. So I don't know if was that for me responding to you, like I validated that I received your message.
Yes, yeah, our energies were connected at the time, and the energy was kind of different. And because I think you were a little standoffish from me when I started talking about, or you looked at me and observed me and so on and so forth. And I just wanted to reassure you that you're safe. You're safe with me, and you're safe in doing what you were going to do that night too.
Well, it was just, it was, having everybody meet, in the same room. We were all chatting and stuff. And you started talking about different things that you had done in your life. You didn't really go in. You told us, who you used to work for. You didn't really go into it that much and everything. And all of a sudden, my antenna were like, bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, I gotta know more. I just gotta know more. But it was one of those situations, Jimmy, that I wanted to talk to you about certain things, but I was almost afraid to ask you.
Right, and by you feeling that okay, I'm safe, you were safe to go ahead and move forward with what you wanted to ask.
Yeah, and
that's what that was all about. That was what that was about.
So yeah, okay, yeah. See, and at that point, I know I kind of leveled out, and I was like, all right, this is cool, and I just kind of went along with it.
Yeah,
and with what I was feeling and stuff. So I felt very, very comfortable, and I appreciate you letting me in as much as you have. One thing I do want to address here on the broadcast is that, and people have asked before, like last time you were on when we were on at night. People have said, "Why can't we see Jimmy?" and I said, "Well, because Jimmy doesn't want to be seen." That's pretty much it. But there is a reason, and whether or not you want to say or you don't have to. But at this point, you just want to leave your camera off.
Yeah, I'd rather leave it off. And suffice to say, I can't go on Facebook, any social media, because of what I did, the level of clearance I had. That's a hint, and so on and so forth, and the exposure to certain things within the government.
So you work for Major League Baseball.
I did. Yes, I did. I sold hot dogs at the stand, and I sang the national anthem. And that too. Mike, does anybody have any questions relative to time travel and what I experienced? I would think somebody would ask, can everybody have the ability to do this? And my response to that would be, you have to be open to it. You have to be open to do, and I would stress open. You can try it, and if it doesn't happen, then obviously you're doubting yourself, and it's picked up through your subconscious.
So yeah, I mean, I haven't asked anybody for any questions because we were just kind of chit chatting here. But if anybody has any questions for Jimmy, poke him in the room, and if Jimmy can answer them, then he will certainly go ahead and do so. Here's a question for you, Jimmy. I don't know if you see the stock market crash in 2021.
I have a friend that has studied time in general. He's a brilliant man. He studied Egyptian math, and he works with mathematicians around the world. Just a brilliant man. And to answer that question, it does to a large extent, yes.
Okay, this year.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. What's your feeling as far as decentralization and cryptocurrency?
Well, right now we have I don't know if you're in the conversation at Captain Grant's, but the Federal Reserve just keeps printing money and money and money,
yeah.
and nobody is monitoring them. They don't have to report to anybody. I don't know if anybody knows that. So that's so we're printing paperless money. It's almost like monopoly right now.
So how do you think cryptocurrency is something that's going to go ahead and play a factor, in our society?
Yes,
even more so?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Getting back to the time travel, what's interesting through my experiences is how vivid it was at the end, because it seemed like it really did go fast forward. And at the end, I could visualize and hear and see everything that led up to my death, which I found fascinating. And the 92-year-old woman was just amazed as well too. And as I mentioned to you, Mike, when I was sitting in the chair, she said I had a blue light all around my whole body. She could see.
A blue light.
A blue light has to do, if you know anything about chakra. It's the communications chakra.
Okay. Is that out of your chest?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. As you go higher up to the spiritual end, it's between. It's around. It's your throat area, I believe. I could be wrong, but the last time I think it's right at the throat area.
Have you? Here's a kind of a morbid question, man, but I'm gonna throw it out there. I mean, have you seen your death in many past life experiences, traveling back to those times? Do you see it for this life?
I don't. I see myself living for a long time, long time, and I'll tell you why. Because what keeps coming to me is that you're here on this earth to help people and to make their lives much better by just coming in contact with them. And so many people have said that to me.
Geez, I don't even know if I want to ask you about me. God.
No, I don't see anything with anybody when it relates to that. I don't see anything in the stock market or not stock market, but lottery tickets or anything like that. That's not part of the abilities.
That's not part of time travel. That's a psychic thing. If psychic.
Yeah, psychic thing, and I don't have that.
What is your most memorable experience traveling back?
I'll tell you the most interesting and enjoyable one was the Apache Indian.
Okay, how come?
Because of the freedom with that, being able to kind of roam the plains, ride a horse and just roam and scout where the enemy might be, and so on and so forth. The number of wives involved, the type of enjoyment we had with certain props and so on and so forth. That to me was the most enjoyable one. It really was, because it was really stress free. You just roamed, and you would just have the ability to just do what you wanted to do. The others, it seemed like I was restricted pretty much, or I had more responsibility. Yeah.
Do you think that you're more restricted now than in any other life?
No, because I've made changes to my life, and I've moved. And when I do a lot of writing, and people have asked me to publish a lot of it, but it's something I do, and it's for me. The word that constantly comes up now for me is just freedom.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, as much as I can understand it.
Yeah, I'm not really tied to much. I've worked hard enough that I have the freedom to just be.
Yeah.
If I don't get something accomplished today, there's always tomorrow to do that. Unless it involves somebody else and I'm trying to help them, then all of a sudden it's front and center with me.
Going back to the lady, the 92-year-old woman that you speak of.
Yes.
You say that you feel that she's not of this world. So where's she from?
She's from another place in time, and she has come forward. In other words, she's from a past life that is now present and physically present.
Huh.
And that might be hard to. So she lived in the past, and now she's living that same life in the present.
So she's physically traveled from the past to the future.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just kind of trying to wrap my head around that one.
Yeah. I mean,
do
she's done things over and above the six senses, even before they studied this, and she mastered that.
Do you know? I mean, has she ever divulged where she's from, or is that something
I've never asked her, because I don't really need to. I just feel so comfortable when I do see her that it's not something I need to explore.
Okay.
You know, we might not see each other for a year or two, but when we do sit down and we talk about everything under the sun like it was yesterday.
That brings me up to another question, and again, you can say, "Yeah, I don't want to talk about it," or anything like that. But, do you feel that you are possibly not from here?
At times I question that because of what I've been able to do, and other people have questioned that as well too. Because I've cheated death in jobs in the past and things I did and places I went a number of times. So I do question that at times. But I do I do get injured like a normal person would be, but I've never had a headache in my life. I have never ever very rarely do I get sick. And
I don't either. I don't either.
No, and I'm very I think a lot of that has to do with being regimented too. I'm very regimented on how I do certain things. So to answer your question, Dua, is I don't think so. I just think I've been put on this earth as right now to again I say to help people, to be a seeker to people.
I think you're an alien.
Yeah, you mentioned that before too. And
but you know what? I mean, to your point about like being sick and stuff like that, I've been to the doctors. I mean, I've got a few things wrong with me, just basically because I beat the crap out of my own body.
Yeah.
You know, as far as being I'm fat. I don't know if you noticed, but I am. I am a diabetic, and I have some other like life health issues. But as far as day-to-day health, doctors can't believe it.
Yeah, the same with me. And so yeah, to answer your question, am I from another world, another time, another place? Perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still exploring that.
Well, I mean, myself, people have looked at me and said, "Yeah, I'm like, you're out there."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know where I'm out there from. But
mm-hmm.
That's a nice little teaser for another episode, huh?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'd like to come back and when this is all over, Mike, you've got my email. We'll chat once in a while because I find you very open, fascinating, intelligent, daring, forthright, and enjoyable to talk to. Because I feel that I always, when I do talk to people, I'll say I learn as much from you as hopefully you learn from me, and that's how I feel about
You know, if you were a woman, I'd propose to you.
it. No.
Man,
No, I've learned how. This is a little off of obviously time travel, but I've learned how to balance my life between the yin and yang. Very,
Yeah.
very much so too. And I'm very empathetic to the other side, the female side. Given what I do for work, it's people are amazed. I call myself a recovering type A.
A recovering what?
Type A personality.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're no longer the alpha male, huh?
No. I just be right now, and I'm enjoying everything and learning, absorbing, and I try to help people every day. That's the thing that I have the ability to do.
Well, I certainly appreciate you coming on this morning, and I learn something new every time I talk to you. And I'll be honest with you, I have really become like a sponge when I listen to you, and it's like I can't wait till we talk again.
Sure.
There's a million things that I want to go ahead and ask you. There's a comment that just came on the board from Hayden. They said this has been super interesting.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's nice. Mike, if I wanted to have somebody watch what we talked about this morning, or just in general, it's SN Radio. They go to YouTube. Is there anything with that? No.
No. They just go to SN Radio.
Yeah.
And they go to our channel, and the videos will be like, if they went there right now, they would see an icon that said live, and they could click on it and they could watch us talk right now.
Oh.
But but when it's all said and done, they can just go there and watch it.
Okay, because again, when we did the other one last week or the week before, it was SN, but it was under dark. Is there anything you have to move forward with this on it? Just put snsn.com and a radio, and that's it?
No, just go to YouTube.
Yeah.
And then just search SN Radio. They're all going to be there.
Okay, very good. Okay, I just wanted to know. It's been a pleasure. It really has. You know, I look forward to doing this again, but also I look forward to talking to you one-on-one, face-to-face.
Oh, absolutely, and so do I. Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a good rest of your day.
And peace and good health to you, Mike.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
All right, bye-bye now. That was Jimmy, an incredibly interesting man. When I say that I enjoy the hell out of talking to this guy, I really honestly do. He's so multifaceted, and to be able to for him to share that information, like with me, personally, or if he turns around and decides, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share it, with your listeners and your viewers as well. That's amazing. So we thank Jimmy for coming on. There's so many different sides to this guy, that is just incredibly interesting. And we hope to be able to get some more time and information with Jimmy in the future. So as you heard him speak, he doesn't put his camera on. There's reasons for that. And, I certainly respect that. Maybe he'll turn it on someday. Maybe he won't. Doesn't matter. But I can tell you that I've met the man face to face, and he is who he says that he is, and he's 100% all that. So anyway, thank you for joining us for Time Travel Thursday here on SNSN. News coming up in just a couple of minutes as local and national and world news, as well as the weather right here on SNSN. Have a great day.
School sports and your home for local news and weather, broadcasting from Main Street in the borough of Jewett City.